Hello everyone, welcome back to SpeedGaming's English restream of RTA in Japan. My name is Nick RP Green. I am a runner with Metal Gear Speedrunners. I run the easy category of this game. But we are going to be watching Hamatet, and he is going to be running the big boss category of the game instead. Now, if at first you're asking, hold on, that screen was for Metal Gear Solid 3, not Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, hamatet is playing the PS3 version of Metal Gear 2, which is included on the Metal Gear Solid 3 HD collection, which is available on PlayStation 3 and Xbox. So it looks like he's just getting warmed up. Now, for the big boss category of this, he has some very specific requirements that he must meet. First of all, he must play on the original difficulty, not on the easy difficulty. His time must be under 2 hours, which won't be a problem. This run is about an hour. He must use no continues, so no deaths. He can only have anywhere between 2 and 6 alerts. The reason it's 2 to 6 is because 2 of the alerts in the game are mandatory. It looks like they're getting ready to start. So we'll let them do the countdown. And they're off! So yes, 2 alerts are mandatory, so he's only allowed an extra 4 alerts throughout the run. He has to have anywhere between 0 and 5 kills. Ideally, he's going to go for 0, I would think, but we'll see. And finally, he's not allowed to use any rations in the game, which, again, shouldn't cause too much of a problem. So, I can see he's already off, and he's going to get straight to the back of this van and grab a ration. Now, the rations in Metal Gear 2 are very special. There's 3 different types, and they all have various properties, such as one containing chocolate, one containing cheese, and they're used for other things other than just healing snakes. That's why he is still grabbing them. Distracting that guard there with a punch, and that's going to give him enough time to crawl around, get to the other side of him, and then give him a quick punch. This doesn't kill him, it just stuns him. It looked like that was very close, but there's just a moment after a guard has turned whilst they are incapacitated like that, or when they are looking around, and they won't be able to spot Snake. Grabs the first weapon, the pistol. Whilst this should be a 0 to 5 kill run, he is still going to have to kill the bosses. Those are mandatory. You still have to kill them by lethal means. There is no tranquilizer. There is no punching guards out. You still have to kill the bosses. So those do not count towards the kill count. But as I said, there is no tranquilizing or knocking out of guards. If he punches a guard 3 times, that guard does die. So he must avoid that. So at all times, you're going to see him do a lot of punching to distract guards, a lot of punching just to stun them for a moment and get through. So right now he is on his way to go and get the first keycard, the level 1 keycard. That's going to allow him access to the first boss. He did a little punch buffer there just to make sure that that guard moved. Because guards, you'll notice there's a radar in the top right corner. Guards can't see onto additional screens. So if you've got a guard that's about to move onto the same screen that you're on, if you move onto their screen as they move onto your screen, then you don't see each other. There, he's just punched the elevator. To get the elevator moving so that it's ready. That's keycard level 1. That's going to give him access to the first boss, which is coming up very shortly. That boss will then give him access to keycard 2. And that's kind of how most of the run goes. It is get a keycard so that you can get access to the next boss, kill that boss. He is now saving the game. Not sure necessarily why he's saving the game. There is a bit of manipulation of the first boss's movement, assuming that everything goes correctly and he moves around correctly, punches the right number of guards, and doesn't get spotted. You can get the first boss, which is coming up here in the next room, Black Ninja, to move in a very particular way, and it makes this fight a lot quicker. So we'll see if he's got that. He should have, because the way he's hit the guards and moved around means he should be in the right place. And that doesn't quite look like the the correct pattern. But luckily, there aren't that many positions that he's going to move to. You'll see he's timing his shots out, trying not to take too much damage. Remember, he can't get a kill in this. He can't take a death in this run. He's on the red health, so... Oh, Black Ninja's not being very... And there he's down. Black Ninja defeated. Boss number 1 is out of the way. There's a level 2 card. And rather than keep going through this area, he's actually now going to go straight back. And we're going to move on to what is easily the most exciting portion of this run. It was just waiting there for that guard to move out of the way. We're going to be following the Green Beret. This is a very, very exciting portion of Metal Gear 2 on every category. It's a section that runners love. We love that it comes up so soon in the run. It's very, very, very exciting. But first, he's got to get back down to floor 1. Excuse me. He's going to wait for that guard to move on to there. He's going to be quite quick here to make sure that he distracts that guard before the guard moves on to the next screen. Punch that guard. Guards do have a slightly wider angle of view than they did in the first MSX game, but they still can't see around corners very well. Things like that. He's got to be careful here. The guard, particularly on the very next screen, will turn eventually, but he's got that one fine. And again here, it's very easy to walk onto that screen and immediately just walk into that guard. Here is that Green Beret. You can tell because he's wearing a Green Beret. And in this section that's coming up, we're going to go into the jungle, and Snake is going to get lost in the jungle unless he can follow this Green Beret, because this Green Beret knows how to get to the jail cell that Dr. Madnar is being held in. Actually, well, Snake thinks he's going to rescue Dr. Marv, but he's actually going to come across Dr. Madnar instead, who, if you play Metal Gear 1, you'll recognize the name Dr. Madnar. He was the developer of the Metal Gear in the first game. So, as you can see, Hamatet is just following the Green Beret and stopping at each corner, just because if the Green Beret turns around and spots him, then he will run away, and Hamatet will have to start this whole section all over again. Like I said, as you can see, it's very, very exciting portion of the run. I mean, look at that movement. Look at Snake turn. Oh, this is some fantastic speed tech. If you're not aware yet, I am being sarcastic. This is a very boring section. The guard is going to go around this whole area about 2 times. The screen that he wants to go up is actually north of here, but he's going to do a second circuit round. Unfortunately, there is either on any difficulty, on any category, there is no way of speeding this up. It's probably one of the things that speedrunners would love to see get eliminated from the run. But until that day happens, we will continue to just do this the way we have to do it. You just have to be careful not to enter the next screen too early, because the guard's position onto the next, even though the radar is eliminated at this point, the guard's position onto the next screen is still recorded by the game. So if he follows the guard onto the next screen too early, then he will run straight into the guard. On the other hand, if he runs onto the next screen too late, the guard will have moved away. So there you see him just timing his movement out there. That's probably the most dangerous corner there. You don't want to peek out from behind that corner. Suddenly the guard's just going to run now. All of a sudden he just decides to run. And another little run there. Luckily on the next screen he takes the shorter route rather than going all the way round. That's going to speed this room up just a little bit. Alright, penultimate room. Oh, are you hanging on to the edge of your seats, folks? Because I know I am. Or is he going to make it? Is he going to get past the Green Beret? One last turn. And the Green Beret section is over. He's going to go into this room. There's no one in here. He's going to call Dr. Madnar, he is in the room on the right. If you look at the radar, you can see there's a second room to the right. Dr. Madnar was using Morse code. He was knocking on the wall to give Snake Morse code for what his radio was. We will see Madnar again. We will enter that room on the right a little later in the run. Right now, Snake, now that he knows that he needs to go and find Dr. Marv in a different location, he's going to move on here. He's going to grab some mines. He needs to grab 7 of these mines because he's going to use these mines to kill the next boss, which is Running Man. So now that he's grabbed his mines, he's now going to make his way across the swamp. Now, this swamp is a bit of a pain for new runners to learn. You can see that he's making his way across, very, very swiftly. Doesn't look like there's any problem, but he's going in a very weird route. That is because certain sections of this swamp are shallow, certain sections of this swamp are deep. And if he moves into a deep section, Snake will start to sink, he will move very slowly, and eventually he will drown. But this is quite expertly navigated through, no problems whatsoever. This guard's a bit random. Hopefully he's not going to get spotted. He's going to punch the... Oh, he's actually going to kill the guard just to be on the safe side there. Remember, he is allowed up to 5 kills in the run. So that is one of his kills down. This is Running Man. Running Man was a former Olympic sprinter. And then he turned into a terrorist. Because that's what you do sometimes. Running Man is most of the bosses, in fact, in this game are a bit cheesy. What we're going to see hamatet do here is he's going to place mines just here. He's going to place all 7 of those mines there, and now he's going to run in the opposite direction. Oh no, he's actually going to leave the room. Oh yeah, he left the room there to get his oxygen back there. In an easy difficulty run, Snake would have enough health to not have to worry about it, but he just had to replenish his oxygen. And here, Running Man will always run as far away from you as possible. So you use his skill against him, get him to just run over those mines 7 times. He's been defeated, and that is going to give hamatet card numero 3. And now he can move on to the next section. As you can see, that guard that was there is no longer there, so that's why hamatet took that guard out there, using up one of his kills. Because that guard there can be, if he's in the wrong position as you exit that room and he's looking at you, that's one of your alerts gone. And it's a lot easier to control how many kills you get than it is. Oh, there you just saw a slight error of movement, and Snake did start to sink slightly, but it was recovered well. But honestly, any runner would be really happy to only sink into that swamp once during a run. Now, backtracking his way. And as I said before, it's getting card keys, getting ready for bosses. So he's preparing for the next boss by grabbing the Stinger launcher. Now, if you've played Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear Solid 2, you might remember the Stinger launcher from those games. The Stinger launcher in this one works a little bit differently. I actually control it using the radar. We'll see that very soon. So he's done a distraction shot just to move those guards out of the way. He's going to go into this room, grab the Stinger launcher, and now he's going to, as both of those. Oh no, he's going to go past. Oh, he's going to punch both those guards at the same time, keep them stunned as he moves up. Camera's not going to see him. And now he's going to make his way back through the jungle. As you may have noticed with his reversal through the jungle, now that he's already done the Green Beret section, doesn't need to do it again. The radar is unlocked. He knows his way around the jungle. He's not going to get lost. He's going to make his way up to the next boss fight, which is the Hind D. Carefully make his way through the minefield, so he already knows where all the mines are. Takes a couple of hits there, but that's fine. Snake he's not allowed to use any rations, but Snake will replenish all of his health following a boss fight. Just manages those units there. He's going to get himself into the top, in the bottom right corner of this screen. The Hind has a particular pattern that it goes in. It's not random. It's always the same. So from here, he's going to move to the screen on the right, equip the Stinger, and use the radar to take down the Hindy in 4 shots. So no RNG to this fight. It's very straightforward. We shouldn't see any issues here. 3 and 4, and the Hind is defeated. Switches back to no weapon. You can't move whilst you have the Stinger equipped because the reticule is being moved on the radar instead. And this is building 2. This is quite a nasty screen, or it can be. Lots of guards. Grabs the cardboard box. Cardboard box is a required item in this game. Allows him to get on this conveyor belt. It's going to call Colonel Campbell just to update him on the mission, and that activates the conveyor belt to get into here. There's another important codec call coming up in the very next room. Most of the time you'll see Hamatet ignoring codec calls, but he will answer this one because this is going to be from Holly. He will answer it. Oh, he's not answered it. You do have to. Yeah, I think he's just realised and he's on his way back. There we go. If you don't answer this call from Holly when you go down to the basement to rescue her, she won't be there. So he just realised that he needed to answer the call and made his way back. That has allowed him to... actually, I wonder if that was deliberate. All of the guards here have moved round. I say, I haven't done Big Boss category before, so it that may have been deliberate to cause those guards to start their patterns so that they'll start moving round. So he's going to get in a lift and go down to the basement. We're going to see this basement a lot during this run. The 2 buildings that we've been in, building 1, we're now in building 2. There's actually 3 different routes between the buildings. The fastest is down here in the basement. He's grabbing some plastic explosives that's going to allow him to blow up a wall that will get him through to Holly. So Holly is actually in the room on the right. You can see the white dot on the radar. And this is Holly. Holly is our female protagonist. She's sort of the equivalent of Meryl, the equivalent of Jenna, if you've played Metal Gear Ghost Babel. Which would be a surprise. Not many people have played Ghost Babel. But you should, because it's Ghost Babel is the Game Boy game, and it's kind of the unofficial sequel to this. It kind of rounds out the trilogy of Metal Gear 2, and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. So in this section, Snake can go underwater to speed up, but obviously he doesn't want to drown, so he has to be careful with how long he stays down there. Now that he's rescued Holly, he can move on to the next boss. He's going to need some grenades next. So by taking that ditch down to here, we're now back at building 1. So this is the fastest way to travel between the 2 buildings. He's going to activate that elevator now, so it starts coming up. Takes a firing shot here just to distract this guard, and he's actually going to kill that guard as well, because, again, that guard's going to be hanging around when he leaves here. Picks up the grenades for the first time. So now that guard is dead, he doesn't have to worry about it. So that's 2 guards. That's 2 kills on his 5-kill limit. Back down to basement 2, and now he's going to go back along the drainage ditch and back up to building 2. is he needs the grenades in order to fight the next boss, which is the very oddly named Red Blaster. And I won't spoil it if you don't know, but I'll just tease that Red Blaster, as I just said, is very oddly named. And if anyone can tell me when they see Red Blaster why we think that Red Blaster is quite oddly named, please let us know in the chat. See if you can work it out. It's very tricky. It's a very tricky. Continuing around this little maze, if you look at the radar here, you may notice that this maze is actually in the shape of a snake. So he's now going into the head section of the snake. Over to the final elevator. This is going to be the only time hamatet goes up and down this specific elevator. And this one's quite a long elevator. Some of the elevators are only one floor at a time. Some of the elevators are more floors at a time. We're going to go up to floor, I want to say 20 or 22. We'll see in a second. All right, final answer is 30, floor 30. And as soon as we come out of this room, we're going to be straight into the fight against Red Blaster. Here he comes. So this is what hamatet needed the grenades for. He's just going to throw a grenade, and as soon as Red Blaster throws a grenade back at him, he's going to move out of the way. And just time out these grenades. And one more, and that is Red... Oh, he didn't quite land that last grenade. He's in a bit of trouble here because there's that pit there, so he's going to have to go round and back again. He's just got to make sure he doesn't get hit. He doesn't want to get killed. And Red Blaster has been defeated. So yeah, if anyone can explain why a guy in a green uniform who throws grenades is called Red Blaster, Metal Gear speedrunners would love to hear from you, because we've got no idea why. I see because he flashes red when he gets hit. Every boss flashes red when he gets hit. Now, this is the big RNG moment of any run of Metal Gear 2. This is the pigeon. You may notice that hamatet's got his ration out. That's because this ration contains cheese, and the pigeon is attracted to cheese. Dr. Marv has left a note on this pigeon, and hamatet's now just waiting for this pigeon to land. He will only land if he has this ration equipped, and it is just pure RNG. Sometimes you could... He's just double checked that he's got the right ration on. Sometimes this pigeon will land the moment you enter the screen. Sometimes he will just fly around forever. And if you are, like, you know, if you're grinding for PB or you're grinding for world record, this is where you are going to end most of your runs, because this pigeon is not being nice to him right now. Oh, it's down. He's got it. Yes. So now he's going to call Dr. Marv. That pigeon was so mean to him. The other thing is the pigeon doesn't stay on the ground for very long. You need to be right on top of it when it lands. Otherwise, it takes off and moves off straight away again. So he called Dr. Marv, realized that Dr. Marv spoke a language which I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but Snake doesn't speak it. So because he couldn't understand him, Snake then called Dr. Madnar again. Dr. Madnar let him know that his assistant, his bodyguard, his driver, is also here in the base. She's been evading capture, and she will be able to explain, and she'll be able to translate. So now Snake has to go and find her. The bird is indeed Snake's worst enemy. So one of the requirements for big boss is it has to be done in under 2 hours. If that bird takes more than 2 hours, that's big boss over. No, you'll never see a bird take quite that long, but yeah, definitely a run killer if you're trying to get a PB. A lot of grinding. We've got a bit backtracking here to do now, because the lady that we are looking for is all the way back in building 1. So Hamatet is going to use the basement method to get back to building 1, but now that he has the level 4 card, he can actually go into the area, which is floor 4 of building 1. So same route as before, go into the ditch, down to the south, mine the mines, don't drown, don't take cold, don't lose too much health. Pretty straightforward again. And then we're going into floor 4, which is one of the nastiest sections of the game. We have to do this floor twice. It can also, if you've slipped up at any point, it can be a big boss run killer, because there is a random alert that you can get. So Hamatet will be hoping that he doesn't get that alert. So he goes up to the second floor, has to swap lifts, because the lifts in this game are also quite weirdly put out. Okay, so up to floor 4. First thing here, he wants to get past a security alert, and there is also a guard, so he needs to be very quick here to punch that guard, and then move past that security device. You'll see that it does that. If he gets caught in that, that's an alert. And that was perfect. He did that very nicely. That's one of the tougher moves of the game. Here, he's just going to wait for the guard on the next screen to be in the right position so that he doesn't get spotted as he moves over. And just moves through relatively simply past the children. There's a dark room here, but there's a wall across the middle with a little hole there. Do have to be quite quick. There are some collapsible floors here, and it's this very next room. There may be a guard here. Oh, he's good. He's good. But didn't get the alert. If you look at the radar, you'll see that some of the dots are flashing. Those are real guards. The rest are mannequins. But there is a chance that when you move into that first mannequin room, that there is a guard who is just looking directly at the door, and there's nothing you can do about it. This is Gustava. She's just gone into the ladies' toilets. And if you've ever played Metal Gear Solid 1, this may seem oddly familiar. It is a fair point to say that as much as Metal Gear Solid 1 is a sequel to Metal Gear 2, it borrows very heavily story elements, map design and mechanics from this game as well. It's almost a sort of hybrid sequel and remake of Metal Gear 2 to an extent. It does have a completely different story. It's just a lot of elements from this game are recycled in Metal Gear Solid 1. Although it is worth remembering that Metal Gear 2 was originally only released in Japan. So this game was first released in 1990, but it was not released in Europe or the US. The first time that it was that we got a European and US release of this game was when it was made part of Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence for the PlayStation 2. And I want to say that was in 2000, but I could be wrong. Here's Dr. Marv. Dr. Madnar. So this is the room on the right-hand side after the jungle that we went through earlier. So we're going to go back down this lift, keep going through the basement. This is a bit of a story section. Not a lot happens in this section. This is a lot of story. So we've met up with Gustava. We've now gone and found Dr. Madnar. We're now going to make our way through to try and get to building 3, where Dr. Marv is being held. Take a bit of a walk along here. And there's a bit of a story moment here. Dr. Madnar says he's tired and he could do with a break, even though they've been walking for literally 15 seconds. Snake and Gustava have a bit of a chat. She talks about how she used to be an Olympic ice skater. A lot of former Olympians in this game. And then she became a bodyguard and you know, started looking after Dr. Marv. Thank you, Metal Gun Solid. 2005. We first people outside of Japan first got their hands on this copy of the game. Just making way over to building 3. Past all this, so we don't need to go in any here. Got to be a bit careful here. There are some mines. So hamatet's opting to grab these mines. At this point, you can actually run in and grab those a number of different locations. And now here we actually have an unskippable cutscene. It's one of the only unskippable cutscenes in the game. Normally you can scroll past text very quickly, but for some reason this bit we just have to sort of sit and wait through. So the bridge is a bit rickety. Dr. Madnar's gone across first. He's like, yep, bridge is fine. You can come across. Snake's like, Gustava, you go next. Gustava starts making a way. And then Gustava goes back to Snake. Snake, it's fine. Come across. Just as Snake's about to go, no! An explosion! And Gustava! Oh no! She's dead! Waiting for the eyes to close. Gustava has been killed by an explosion. But where could that explosion have come from? Some guards come to take Dr. Madnar away. The screen pans down, and when it pans back up... It's Metal Gear! It's already active! And Snake discovers that his old comrade, Grey Fox, is the one piloting Metal Gear. So, now that the bridge is out, Snake is going to have to find another way to cross over. And Gustava, with her dying breath, Gustava tells him that there is a glider all the way back in Building 1. If you thought other Metal Gear games loved their backtracking, they all got it from this one. This is probably the worst game for backtracking in the Metal Gear series. There's so much of it. But he's not going to take the basement route because the door that he came out of is only accessible with keycard 4. Here, he's going to crawl over these mines because he doesn't want to take the damage from the mines. Whereas in this room, he knows exactly where the mines are, so he can avoid them with ease. He's going to make his way pretty much almost all the way back to the very start of the game. There was a big hangar door on the very first room that he entered after he finished crawling through the vents. And that is where the... Oh, he's just waiting for the Green Beret to move around there. That is where the glider is. So what he's going to do, he's going to grab the glider. He's then going to go all the way to the top of Building 2 and glide from Building 2 over to Building or Area 3. It's not really one building, Building 3, but we just call it Building 3 because it's Building 1, 2, and 3. And so it goes. That's the one of the very first screens. More mannequins. As you can see on the radar, this top left one is fake. So he's going to give that a punch. Grab the glider. Come back out before that guard stops being stunned. Avoids another alert. And now He wants to make his way over to building 3, but what he's going to do before that, he's going to take probably the longest route to get there, but there is a reason for it. Rather than going back down the basement route or going across the desert like we just did, he's just waiting for that guard there to move out of the way, and he's going to take the floor 4 route again. He's going to go back through the secret passage that he took Gustava and Madnar through, and there's a reason for this, which I'll explain when we get there. So back up to floor 4. So that's floor 3. Here comes floor 4. Again, he's got to do this this fast punch. Gets it. Very nice. Past the security alarm. Excellent. So now pretty much replays floor 4 exactly as before. And if you remember when we went through floor 4 the first time, I talked about those mannequin rooms. He's got another chance here of one of those guards to be looking right at the door he's coming through. So he's going to be hoping, pray to the RNG gods that the game is nice to him and doesn't give him a guard in this room. So back through the dark room. So Mannequin Room 1 doesn't have any. Mannequin Room 2, fingers crossed. Doesn't get it. Nice. He gets the one facing away again. Moves up. Oh, he did get caught in that one, unfortunately. So that's one of his alerts. So now that we're back in the dining room, he's going to take a slight detour. He's going to go into this freezer. Open the door. He's going to grab a ration that he's going to need later. And he's just going to wait a few seconds. As you can see, the brooch in the bottom right-hand corner has just changed to a key. Just like in Metal Gear Solid 1, the brooch is made of a memory alloy. It can be heated or frozen to change shape. Unlike Metal Gear Solid 1, that key will now remain that way indefinitely unless he goes into a hot source to heat it back up. It will now constantly stay a key. In Metal Gear Solid 1, if you change the card key to a cold or hot key, it only lasts, I think it's something like 5 minutes, and then it turns back again, so you have to be quite quick. So that's why we go back this way to get to building 2 again, so that we can change the key now. And yes, as I've failed to point out both times we've gone through there, for some reason, the ladies' bathroom in Outer Heaven has a lift in it. I don't know who they hired as an architect for this place, but it's very strange. I do apologize. Not Outer Heaven is the setting of the first Metal Gear. This is Zanzibar Land. Yeah. Who Big Boss hired to build this place and put an elevator in a bathroom? I don't know. Of course, if you're playing this game casually, you don't know that brooch is a memory alloy until you get to the room where you need to use it as a key, which would then involve the biggest backtrack of the game. So by having that foresight and knowing how the game works, we cut out a huge amount of time by changing that key now. So here, we want to make our way to the top of building 2. So we're going to go in the middle elevator again and take it all the way to the top. And I am pretty certain that nothing of consequence or any danger or anything is going to happen in this lift. It'll be fine. Nothing bad ever happens in a lift in a Metal Gear Solid game, right? Now, despite this completely safe lift, hamatet is setting up some mines. He's putting, I'm going to say 6. Certainly a few. So, in true Metal Gear fashion, he's going to get ambushed in the elevator by the 4 horsemen. And by placing those mines there, the horsemen are going to jump off to try and attack him, and immediately land on those mines. now that the first two are defeated, runs down to the bottom opposite corner so that these two now start running down. Very, very safe fight, this. These guys just kill themselves. Should be one more hit. Oh, he's just trying to... it's taken out the last guard. The last guard there with a grenade, so that he maintains the number of mines he's got. So I'm assuming that means he wants to use some mines to defeat Metal Gear later. So, unfortunately, that elevator then broke down and fell back down to the bottom. He did get the next key card, though, so he can now use that key card to go in a different elevator and get to the top of Building 2 on a different area. And climb up this elevator. And coming up to another slightly tricky room. He's got to be quite careful with his movement to make sure that he doesn't get an alert, because you lose a lot of time if you get an alert in this next section. Actually, he's got a bit of a climb before he gets to that room. This room's pretty straightforward. He's not going to do a lot. He's not going to take the damage from the C4. Doesn't want to get the alert from the security system there, so he's got to just wait for it to go there. Card 7, go out, and now we have the obligatory tower climb. This is a mandatory alert. There is nothing he can do to stop that alert. He's going to punch that guard just as he goes past to avoid taking damage from him, and he just has to keep climbing. Just make sure that he turns as early as possible, so he's on the right spot. He might stop to pick up some ammunition on certain floors. There's a couple of floors that have hidden trap doors underneath them. You move very quickly over them. They're never a problem. And yeah, he's just going to run round and round and round until he gets to the top. There's really not that much more to say about this section. I've got to say, so far this has been a very, very smooth run from hamatet. Only a couple of little slip-ups. Had the issue with Red Blaster. The pigeon was not nice to him. But as it says in the chat there, if you want to follow SpeedGaming on Twitter for updates and announcements about their upcoming events, give them a follow. Twitter.com/SpeedGaming Show. You can also find them on YouTube. If you're watching here and you haven't followed or subscribed, why not give them a follow? Give them a subscription if you really want to. You can also follow the runner at twitch.tv/hamatet. Or you can follow me if you like the sound of my voice and want to hear some more of it. Not sure why you'd want to, but the option's there if you want to. twitch.tv/NickRPGreen. So you opted not to grab the ammo there. There is one more ammo drop before this tower climb is done. We might already have enough ammo. He's only got one more use for his pistol. And it's going to be to... I'm going to tell you... I'll tell you this now, because if you haven't played this game before, it's going to confuse you, and it'll be quite funny. The only thing he needs to use his pistol for is to kill some hamsters. I am not lying. You will see later. But he does have to kill some hamsters. That is a very good question, Green Z Saber. Oh, he's not opted to get the extra ammo, so he must have as much ammo as he needs. And he's through. I will answer Green Z Sabers in a second. This is a room that he's just got to make sure he does correctly. So distract that guard by running through the spider web. That guard gets distracted by a punch, and he's just got to make sure that guard... Very easy to get spotted by that guard. If you do, you cannot move on from this section. So here, what he's going to do is equip the cigarettes, because there's currently a wind at the top of this tower. The wind's going to change as soon as we see the smoke coming out of Snake's mouth. And that means that the wind is now moving in the right direction for him to be able to glide all the way across and over to section 3. And as we watch Snake majestically glide above the area, I'll go back and answer Green Z Saber's question. If you'd like to learn more about this run or any other runs in the Metal Gear series, head over to metalgearspeedrunners.com or search for any of the Metal Gear games on speedrun.com. Come join the community. Wonderful disco. Hamatet is in that community as well. We have a few Japanese runners in there. Blackie, who was running Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain earlier in the marathon. He's also there as well. And there are, it's a huge community full of people who are ready to teach you any game in the series. Doesn't matter which game in the series you want. Hamatet here is making another save just to be on the safe sides. He is allowed to make up to actually, for Metal Gear 2, there's no limit to the number of saves you can have. Right. Most of the bosses you've seen so far in this run have been pretty cheesy, and it's been pretty straightforward how to defeat them. This is Jungle Evil. His positioning here is random. He's going to pop up from time to time in random locations. He's staying under quite nastily. Oh, he dropped down very quickly here. So what Hamatet's got to do is he's got to throw grenades at him whenever he pops up. He just doesn't know where he's going to pop up. It is very easy, even on the easy difficulty, to die to this boss. So he's trying to, he actually tried to use a stinger to take him out there. Oh, Jungle Evil is not being nice for him. He's getting some very awkward positions. So again, swapping, try and hit him with the stinger. He's now out of stingers, so he's just on the grenades. You just got to hope that Jungle Evil goes in nice positions. So he's just got to keep an eye on his health. So this is the one of the bosses in the game that you do pretty much just have to do like you would do in a casual run. As you can see, Jungle Evil isn't limited to this one space. He's actually, if you look at the radar, you can see he keeps popping up over the right-hand side. But Hamatet wants to try and keep him in this location because it's easier for him rather than to keep moving into different areas. But Jungle Evil is not being nice to him here. He's going to stick to his guns. There he goes. Got to keep an eye on that health bar. In that position, just no way of getting a grenade onto him without taking damage. He has to play this safe. Remember, a single death, and that is game over. Those big boss is done. No, he has made backup saves, so he can go back and retry. The other problem here is that whilst we're seeing that Jungle Evil is moving into these different areas, by the time Hamatet's run over to where he is, he'll duck back down again, and he may then come back to this screen. So it's not worth him trying to chase him down because he's never going to catch him. He just has to wait for Jungle Evil to move back towards him. I've got to say, the RNG here is not being pleasant to him at all. There he is. Oh, he's... Other thing, big boss category, he is not allowed to use a ration. So he has to get through this. He cannot take another shot. Come on, Hamatet. Oh, that's a good position. And he's done. Oh, a very, very nasty Jungle Evil there. But he's through. He's got all of his health back, and he can now move on. Shot there to distract that guard, and he's actually shot and killed that guard so that he doesn't get an alert from him on the way back out. He's going to grab an alert here, so that's another of his... that's not a mandatory alert. He could have avoided that, but this one's a calculated alert and a calculated kill beforehand. I think that's been 3 kills so far and 2 additional alerts. And you'll notice he grabbed an egg. And if you're a fan of puzzle games, you know, if you love things like Monkey Island or Sam & Max or other games that Telltale didn't work on that I can't think of, then you'll be quite used to the idea of convoluted puzzle solutions, because boy howdy does Metal Gear 2 have possibly the best puzzle solution in the world. Absolute moon logic indeed. Here we go. It's got a bit of time to wait. This section is completely on a timer. There's nothing hamatet can do to speed this up. He just has to wait. So whilst he's waiting, he's going to run up and he's going to grab one more ration from the top right here. This is ration B1. He's just going to distract that guard so that guard isn't in his way later when he moves round to that section. Because there's another guard. RNG can place him in a position that's not very nice for him. The ration he just grabbed has chocolate in it, and he now has 3 of those, and they're going to be important later. But you'll notice the egg in his inventory is starting to hatch. What? Wonder what could be inside. You'll see there's a laser fence. There's a guard just sort of standing around patrolling, and there is what looks like a switch in the top right-hand corner. What could possibly be the solution to getting past this? Like maybe get an alert so that the guard comes out beyond the fence? Nope. Well, the egg's nearly hatched. Oh, the egg's hatched, and it's an owl. And just gonna wait for the owl. Wait for the owl. There we go, the owl's hooted. And the guard is moving over. And he flicks the switch and can go through. The logic there is the owl has hooted. Therefore, the guard believes that enough time has passed that it is nearly night time and the owls have come out. So his shift must be over. And so he switches off the electric gate because his shift has come to an end. There's the guard that hamatet distracted earlier. This can be quite a tricky room here. Again, doesn't want to get an alert, because getting an alert here will add another alert to his count. But also, you can take quite a lot of damage getting into this elevator whilst guards are spotting him. So you just got to hope that that guard doesn't turn around and see him. He doesn't, that's fine. Now going to make his way down another long elevator. I'm going on to the next boss. This boss is called Night Fright. Night Fright is a completely invisible enemy. He has some sort of stealth camouflage. But as with most of the bosses in this game, there is a completely cheese method of defeating him. Stand in this position, and Night Fright will just run. There you go, you just saw him take a hit there. Night Fright will just run from left to right between this and the next screen. So as long as hamatet's got enough grenades, he can just keep on throwing them, and eventually, there we go, and Night Fright is defeated. Another cheese boss defeated. Alright, here's where those rations are going to come in handy. This is some sort of acid. I know it looks like honey, but it's actually some sort of acid. And that acid dissolves in chocolate. So that's why hamatet has been collecting those 3... Again, the moon logic in this game is incredible. But that is why hamatet has been collecting those rations throughout the run. You must have all 3 rations by that point. If you even take a step onto a pixel of that acid, you are dead. You will just sink into it immediately. Unless, of course, you have the chocolate ration on you. But if you do not have 3 rations at that point of that type, then you're coming all the way back to here. You are going to go and find... There's one. There was one on the right-hand side. But yeah, another backtrack to have to do. And now we do have, unfortunately, another obligatory backtrack. The card key required to get through that door at the end of the acid pools was keycard 9. And Snake only has keycard 8 in his inventory, up to keycard 8 in his inventory at this time. So he now has to backtrack to Jungle Evil's room, where that card now is. Now, unfortunately, whilst the story seems to suggest that the card was there all along, it isn't. That card only spawns once you have dissolved that third acid pool. It's always in the same spot, which is in the top right-hand corner. And that's card 9. But I can now confirm, unless something goes wrong, that is the final backtrack of the game. We are done with the backtracking. I'm going to make our way all the way back over. Another punch here. He's got to wait for that guard. If a guards can still see you if they've got the question mark over them. Make sure he doesn't get spotted by the security system. Timing his movements into the next rooms very nicely to just to be cautious. Make sure that he doesn't get that alert. That guard's moving out of his way. That's nice. There's going to be a guard coming up here. He's just going to take a moment to wait for him to move over. Punch him into this room with the bulldozer. Walks around that nicely. You just have to be careful here. This guard is... Oh, that was very nice. He got quite... That was very nicely timed for that guard to be moving to that position. If that guard had turned to the left, that would have been an alert. Here, we just got to hope that that guard doesn't turn around. And he's good. Oh, that was close. But he's through. So now that he's got rid of all the acid, he's got the level 9 card, he can finally go through this door. And what's he going to find on the other side? It's Dr. Marv. He's finally caught with Dr. Marv. But Dr. Marv is dead after all that. And Dr. Madnar's here as well. So they clearly, when they took Dr. Madnar prisoner, they threw him in here as well. But then Snake notices something. Notices that it looks like Dr. Marv has been strangled. And we discover that Dr. Madnar was on the terrorist side the whole time. Dr. Madnar was cast out of the scientific community after the events of Metal Gear 1. And he wanted his revenge by working on the new Metal Gear Model D. And Snake kills him. Uses the key. Again, if hamatet had not turned that into a brooch, then if not turned the brooch into a key, that would be another backtrack to do. And here are the hamsters. These are flesh-eating hamsters. Hamatet does need the ration that he's got on because it's got cheese in it. So that attracts the hamsters. And now that he's cleared them all out, he can go into the crawl space. Grab the MSX cartridge that Dr. Marv hid his code in for Oilix. Don't make me go into Oilix. Long story. Dr. Madnar's not quite dead, so gives a last little bit of advice to Snake before he dies. And now you're probably thinking, oh, we're gonna have to go back through that door. It's gonna be another big backtrack. But luckily there's a little shortcut that Snake's gonna find. Well, I say find. On a very long tube. And it's Metal Gear! Piloted once again by Grey Fox. Very, very simple fight here. Hamatet's going to be keeping an eye on his health just to make sure he didn't take too much damage. But here, just quite simply, stand at that side, throw grenades at the legs until you've done enough damage. Just missed a grenade there. Slight mistiming and positioning there, but with the right positioning, very, very simple fight. Metal Gear is destroyed. The threat is eliminated. And now all he has to do is escape. And now Snake's head is on fire. There's Grey Fox. Grey Fox is going to run away. Before he can give chase, Hamatet needs to get rid of all of the burning items in his inventory. So he now has no items again. He's going to do one more save here, just to be on the safe side. He's got 2 fights and an escape sequence still to go. So we're approaching the 1 hour mark. Fight against Grey Fox. They're in a minefield. You can see the mines on the radar. And rather than fight Grey Fox, the easiest thing to do is just to stand in the minefield and let Grey Fox take damage from the mines. You have more health than Grey Fox does, and so Grey Fox will die from the mine explosions before you do. He drops the MSX cartridge that he took from you, and then a voice. You hear a voice. Solid Snake, come face me. It's Big Boss. Yep, if you're familiar with other games in the series, that right there is the playable character from Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, Peace Walker, Portable Ops, Phantom Pain. There he is. His second in-game appearance. He was the final boss in the first Metal Gear game. Although after the events of Phantom Pain, which I won't spoil, it has been errated that he wasn't actually the final boss of the first game. So in this section, Snake is completely naked of weapons and items, so he has to go into each of these rooms individually. Hamatet knows exactly which room he needs which card for, so he goes into each of these rooms, grabs a key card which opens up the next door. So in here, he's going to grab the next key card. Got to watch out for the acid. Has had to grab some more chocolate rations because there's a couple of mandatory acid pools like that one there. In here, he's going to grab the light. So he's grabbed a lighter and an aerosol can, put them together, and that's going to make a flamethrower. So now all he's got to do is kill Big Boss by defeating it with the flamethrower. And Big Boss's movement here is random. He's actually been really nice to him by just sort of moving backwards and forwards along this plane. And he's moved up, so Hamatet's probably going to give chase. Yep, he's just going to wait for him to come around this corner. Again, Hamatet does need to keep an eye on his health. Big Boss can quite easily get a few shots off. The other thing you want to try and do with this fight, though, on this difficulty and the way it's going, I don't think Hamatet's going to be too worried about it. The door to exit here is in the top middle spot. So ideally, you want to try and kill Big Boss over there, but most of the time you just sort of take what you can get without dying. And that's Big Boss defeated. The hero of Groznygrad. The hero of Afghanistan and Africa. The world's greatest soldier. Defeated by a flamethrower made from an aerosol can. And don't worry, folks. He's definitely 100% dead. I promise that he's definitely dead. So Snake's now going to go on his escape. Oh no, a guard has found him. But it's not a guard, it's actually Holly. And so Snake and Holly are now going to make their escape. They have a final little sequence here. But with the leader defeated and Metal Gear destroyed, surely nothing getting in the way. Nope, there is our second mandatory alert. And now it is time to run. just down this winding corridor. He's going to come across an elevator to get up to the land. Doesn't want to kill anyone. Remember, he's not allowed to kill any guards here. Makes his way up the elevator, outside. Couple more screens, through some more wires. Now simply just has to wait for the helicopter to turn up. Helicopter's on the way. He's not quite there yet. Just gotta... Again, he's still not allowed to kill any of these guards, so he just has to... So what he's doing, he's hanging around at the bottom so that the guards may move back down onto the previous screen. And just trying to avoid as much damage as possible. This is all on a timer. Once a certain amount of time has passed, yep, no more guards are coming onto the screen. So he's going to take out the last guard. That adds one more to his kill count. He just needs to take a shot. Shoot, hamatet. Shoot. He was waiting for the timer to go down. If it, after a certain amount of time has passed, Snake takes a final shot. He's out of bullets. Final set of guards surrounds them, but the helicopter has arrived, takes them out, and they're saved. The game is over. And this is where you learn that Snake wants to get home in time to have some Christmas dinner. Because this is actually a Christmas game. It's actually set at Christmas. But that was a really, really good run. I don't see any reason that wasn't a big boss ranking. I'm assuming we are going to sit through the credits here. It's not a very long credit sequence. We get to see the helicopter fly off, and there's some cool there's some cool bits of artwork that pop up. But to get a 104.16 RTA. Now the game is for speedrunning purposes. The game is timed in IGT. IGT is quicker than RTA. Because it doesn't count loads. I think the timer will have paused whenever he's gone to save it. So the IGT will probably be significantly shorter than this time. It'd be interesting to see what that time is. It looks like we are gonna go through to the credits. It's worth pointing out that on the NTSC/HD collection version of this category, hamatet is currently the second fastest runner in the world with an IGT of 57.59, which he achieved 4 months ago, which is nearly 2 minutes behind the world record. But as you've seen with this run, there's quite a bit of RNG. The pigeon, Jungle Evil, there's a lot of things that can slow down a run, but this was a really, really solid run for a marathon. I think he'd be really happy with this. Nothing major went wrong. Yeah, there were little hiccups here and there, but for the most part, very clean. Didn't take any additional alerts where he shouldn't have done. Didn't have to pick up any additional kills. He didn't die. That was probably the most important bit. Yeah, really, really good run of Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. And this is a really interesting game to get into if you do want to speedrun it yourself. So we have plenty of resources on the MGSR wiki to help people learn how to do this run. There's resources to learn Big Boss. There's resources to learn any percent on the easy difficulty. So I highly recommend you start with that before moving on to Big Boss. But actually, the two runs aren't that dissimilar. The route is exactly the same. It's just making sure that you keep an eye on your alerts, you keep an eye on your kills, and you don't go sort of maverick a bit too much with those kills. Yeah, hamatet should be really pleased with this run. Very, very good marathon run. Looks like that is it. We're not actually going to see the score screen. So that is it for my time here. Thank you very much for watching. Coming up next on the schedule, which I don't have open because I wasn't quite prepared for it to end that quickly. And I can't read Japanese. Nope, I can't find it. You can go and check out the schedule. You'll find it. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give Hamatet a follow if you enjoyed watching his run. Twitch.tv/Hamatet. If you've enjoyed listening to me, Twitch.tv/Nick Green is where you can find me. Thank you all very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of RTA in Japan, and enjoy the rest of this English restream. Good luck to the rest of the runners.